Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining in and listening to us on our podcast today. Today, the topic is graduating during COVID-19. Uh, what a difficult time to be graduating, but we will see how blessings can come out of this. Today, we have a very special guest. Special to me, she's my youngest daughter, Julianne, and I call her Huli, so you might hear it go back and forth between Huli and Julianne, but we only do have one guest today, and it's her. So, Huli, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I graduated from USD in December. I went there for 4.5 years. I played soccer there. That's kind of why I was there for 4.5 years with some injuries along the way. It extended my years there. And so I wanted to finish out school, and they made sure that they took care of me and wanted to make sure that I finished out school as well. So that's why I graduated in December. That wasn't originally my plan, but it happened that way. And then because it's a smaller school, we don't graduate. They don't have a December graduation. So I was going to be walking this past weekend, Memorial Day weekend, and that didn't happen because the little pandemic decided to come along.
And so there's Huli and Julianne. Which one do you prefer?
Like Huli, but I don't start out with Huli. I can't introduce myself as that because that's just weird. So I'll start out with Julianne, and then they'll get to know me and understand Huli a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I like it. All right. So you graduated from USD, and what did you study?
So marketing was my major, and then supply chain was my minor.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Very cool. And I know your story is a little bit different than people that are graduating like right now, like they just finished up their semester, but like kind of in the midst of this, what have been some of the disappointments with finishing up school right now, and like how have you navigated
that? Yeah, so graduating in December, it was a little bit different because I like during these the time where like stay-at-home order and everything was really taking place, I've been working, so I was kind of already into my career more than finishing up school. But I mean, it's a super exciting time. Like it's always springtime, and graduating and school finishing is always just an exciting time for anybody, whether you're graduating or not. Just that accomplishment of another year under your belt, and you're, moving along, and life, like, you're just growing in yourself and everything. So I think biggest disappointments would just be like the atmosphere and the excitement of it. There's not much of that there. And for me, especially, like it just kind of hasn't hit me that I'm done with college. I finished my last paper and turned that in and everything in December, but the graduating, the big event kind of just finalizes everything, and that's mostly when it hits you and you're like, wow, I finished college and now what's next with my life. But it's also been a really fun time too, just being with my family. So yeah, it is weird for me because I haven't really, I'm not in the same situation, and I'm kind of distant from school because I did finish, but yeah, I would just say that the big event is something that I was disappointed of not having, just to have that, like, that visual of like it's finalized, like I got my diploma in my hand, I shook the president's of our school's hand, and like I'm good to go. But life doesn't always go as planned. So
we always talked in our family about that walking across the stage. Seems like when you walk across that stage, all of a sudden you gain wisdom, so to speak, because you're done after that, and there's unless you're going on for your master's or whatever. But it was like, what
which I will not be doing. School is not my thing. Praise the Lord, I'm finished.
Yeah, no, we serve a wonderful God who helped her get through school, and she did well. She did great. But like in anything in her life, it ended quickly, and there was like this just ends.
Yeah,
So
that's good. That's true. It's very just like definitive done. Like I didn't really have a choice of how it ended, but there's no going back. That's how soccer ended with me with my injuries. It was just like, you know, another ACL tear, like you're done. And then graduation, you know, there was no just like build up, final celebration, and then you just like decompress after all of that. It was just kind of like, you know, rip the Band-Aid off real quick, done. So
yeah. But I think that's like a lot of how, I mean, life is like that a lot of times. And like, I think we have this false idea of like, well, we can control things, when in reality, we have like zero control over anything. And like, I think that's like a good indication of somebody's character is like, how do they respond when all of these things don't go as planned? But I think for a lot of, I think of like, I volunteer with a high school group and like the high school girls and how they respond to not being able to like experience their graduation and how that'll be like a growing process for them now. And I mean, we all have different things in our life right now that we don't think they're going to go the way that they are now. But I think it does grow us and it does prepare us for whatever lies ahead. So for you, do you have like post-graduation plans, and or how are you navigating kind of like the uncertainty of that?
Yeah. So since I've finished school, I've been working, doing marketing and social media for an orthodontic office in Escondido.
What's the name of it?
Hidden Valley Orthodontics.
Okay.
With Dr. Fortney. But so I've just kind of been doing that, but my plans are to eventually move to Nashville and get a job there. And that's where I've had a lot of like uncertainty with jobs, and that's where COVID kind of has taken over. There's hiring pauses. So I've had like interviews with 2 different companies, and you know, you have your initial introduction with the recruiter, and then there's just been like, you don't hear anything. And so you do your follow-up email and they're like, oh yeah, this job's actually on hiring pause now. And you don't know when anything's going to start up. So then you just wait. And so that's something that like I've been praying a lot about, is just like to have patience during this, because, you know, especially my generation, we're very like instant gratification. Like we want things instantly done. It's like, you do your interview and you're all hyped up and you're ready to have your next interview, and that's not happening. So it's just like, okay, you know, you don't really have much, there's not much you can do. You just have to wait it out. And I mean, things are probably starting to open up, but yeah, so I'm just kind of, it's like this like pandemic teaches a lot of people, just is, especially me too, just being present where you are, and that's all you can really do. You can't push anything. This is something that's completely out of all of our control, so you just have to wait it out, and you know, your plans will happen in God's timing, and that's all you have to kind of, you know, lay your head down every night knowing that. So that's where I'm at with.
It's interesting that you say that, because it's true. We live in this world of immediate gratification, as if we are in control of the timing. I'm going to graduate. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get that. I'm going to do, and then this hits, and everything is just kind of on a slower timing for things. Many, and if not stopped for a long time, it's been stopped. And now, as we're slowly opening up, some of us want to get out quicker than others. But that creates time to think. And for some people, they don't want to think; they'd rather just move forward. And so that's a difficult. That can be difficult. but then there can also be some unexpected joys too that have happened through the pandemic, and even through graduating. You know, can you think of any unexpected joys of your graduation in this season? What for you, your mother, you know?
Yeah, like, I mean, a big graduation, everything is not like my gig. I'm not one for like having a big graduation party and sending out all these little, what is it? Like
Announcements.
Yeah, announcements. And everyone look at me, I did it kind of person. And so it's kind of this pandemic.
That you're not like that. You're not like that.
No, that's what I'm saying. So this pandemic has made it more my style of just having my family with me, and we just have a small gathering at the house, and I'm just kind of hanging out, you know. There's not this like selfish, not that I'm not selfish, but like I feel like a lot of people are so sad that it's not like all about them and their graduation, and their families are all flying in from all over the place to celebrate them and their big accomplishment. And not to like downplay graduating from high school or college or 8th grade promotion, whatever it is, like not to downplay it, but people get all caught up in the big like hoo-ha celebration of it all, and it's just like not not what it's all about. So I've really enjoyed just being able to spend a lot more time with my family and playing a lot of Wii, and having my boyfriend be able to be here for months on end when we usually aren't able to do that because he lives in Tennessee. So just really having some good, intimate, fun time with my family and playing
and
Wii
that's
for hours.
Wii for hours. But that's exactly it. One of our relatives said that was the most intimate graduation party, you know, because there was no big party because
you can't.
Here we are, but it was actually perfect for her to have that. And we announced her name, and she walked down the hallway, and we made her wear a cap and gown and had her throw her cap up to the kitchen ceiling. You know, you try to make it fun. And with that, Huli, could you, how can someone make a friend feel celebrated during this period of time as a graduation? Like, I have to say, I'm amazed at all. Right now we are coming into all these different celebrations, and just the creativity of so many people with, you know, I don't like the word drive-by, but the parties, wave, the parades, things like that. And, you know, even having you dress up and walk, because she didn't have to order a cap and gown. That wasn't even part of this. So, woohoo, save on some expense.
But I was just like, I'm gonna save myself $30.
Well, yeah.
I mean, like, I can.
You were late on ordering, but you know.
Yeah.
So how do you have any ways that you could think of
to feel celebrated?
Yeah, for people.
Honestly, I think not feel celebrated, but just like acknowledging them, their accomplishment and like what they've done. I mean, everyone's different. Some people may want a huge parade and drive by and gifts and money and whatnot, but I think like just acknowledging their accomplishment and how they're not able to, you know, get that final handshake or that final walk across the stage. So just like, you know, making sure they're heard that this is a hard time for them and that they don't get that. So just like feeling what they're feeling kind of thing, and acknowledging that it sucks that they don't get to do that, but that shouldn't downplay the accomplishment and what they just like completed, you know.
I agree. What last little nugget would you leave for graduating listeners? You have any words of wisdom there from that?
For what?
For graduating listeners, what do you have any nugget, any bit of infinite wisdom that you've gained through this? You know, I'll just say, I'm going to jump in because as your mom, I just am sorry, but just watching how you have navigated through the adversity once again of this, you know,
Yeah.
life continues to go on, and it's almost like let's not sweat the small stuff, even though celebrations, the graduations, all these things are so important, but
Right.
yet you got the degree, you got what you set out to do, and there's that's a huge thing. Nothing has really been lost in that.
No,
and
totally.
Same thing with all the other if you're graduating, well, thank goodness that you're graduating. That's the key to it. I mean, I'm all about a party, but we can have a party later.
Like we focus on something that's like completely irrelevant to the actual accomplishment or the actual deed that's been done. You know, that like, yeah, it's a way to like celebrate and acknowledge what they've done, but you don't need all of that to, you know, say that you completed college and all that. You got your transcripts, you got your diploma, you're going to college, you got a scholarship to college. Like those are the things. Or even looking to the future of just like you're entering the world and starting your career and doing something that you've always loved or always dreamed of. You've worked for that. You've gone to school for 12 or however many years school is. How many years of school?
Yeah, that's a rough one. I know it's a lot of numbers.
It is. That's why I studied marketing. But yeah, like, you know, you got to celebrate look like the past and everything that you've completed, but also your future as to whether you're going to college or you're going to start your career and that kind of stuff. That's something that you should be, you know, proud of and not get all caught up in the, you know, the fun of it all kind of thing.
Yeah. Totally agree. And so one thing that we try to do with like every episode is we try to have like a little question in there that gives our listeners like a little peek into your life. And the one that we're doing right now is about challenges. So what is a recent challenge that you've overcome?
What's a recent challenge I've overcome? I would probably say just my last final injury with college. And so I tore my ACL. I did full rehab and everything for a year. Then I got back to playing, and then it was 6 months and I tore my same ACL again. So it was a year and a half, only about 6 months of playing again. And then I re-tear it. And that was kind of just like my final, I was done with soccer. So that was the challenge. I think there, what for me at least, was not accepting that soccer was over. I was just kind of like, okay, this isn't it. But having your identity be in a sport, or feeling that your identity is in a sport for your whole entire life. So I was 22 when this happened, and or 21. So 21 years of like playing a sport, and then all of a sudden you're done. And it's like, okay, well, I don't identify myself as a soccer player anymore. I identify like I was a soccer player. I'm not anymore. So I don't say I am a soccer player. And so finding like my true identity and like being confident when I say who I am and that I'm not not finding it just in a sport. And so that was a character builder for me, of just learning who I truly am, and that I'm so much more than just a soccer player or a starting position or a teammate, or a student athlete, which a lot of people tend to kind of live through and live on, is that they're just that. And so realizing that I'm a lot more than that. And even though I at first didn't see myself as that, but just learning a lot more about myself, even though that wasn't my decision to stop playing and stop being that soccer player. There's so much growth in it, and you like, yeah, that was my challenge.
Well, it was a double challenge.
Yeah.
It was a double challenge for that.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's really good, because it's so easy for us to find our identity in like positions that we are like, well, I'm a soccer player, or I'm an event coordinator, or I'm a CEO, or I'm a mom or a husband or wife or whatever. And like, just like that, any of those could be taken away.
Right.
And so it's like, what do we do when our identity is taken from us? And so, yeah, thank you for sharing that, because I think so many of us, like whether or not we realize it, we put our identity in things that are so fleeting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that, yeah, that's like so wise. So thank you.
Like, you feel like there's such a loss, like you lost something or something died in you, but it's like, really, there's so much, it's really like something is like rebirthed inside of you, and you're actually like, there's so much more alive in you than losing that weight of whatever you're carrying, whatever position you are, of like, I have to uphold this because this is what I am. But like, you lose so much, like when it's gone, you honestly find so much freedom in it, so yeah.
And that's such a good perspective of like, and I think that shows that you've like worked through that because you have found freedom in it. And yeah, no, you're so right. That could be totally for anything. How can our listeners connect with you or get in contact with you?
My Instagram, which is Julianne De Armas. Should I spell it out for them, or?
Please do.
Yeah.
Okay. It's Julianne De Armas, Dearmas. No spaces, no dash, no anything, just Julianne De Armas. That's my Instagram handle. And then my email is jdearmas@sandiego.edu. EDU, education. Just making sure.
Well, thank you for joining us today. And I think like a lot of people can feel alone in this season, and they can feel like they're walking through trials alone. And this is a trial a lot of people are facing right now. So thank you for sharing your experience with us. And I know it'll really like hit home and sink in with some of our listeners. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And then for our listeners, thank you again. Thank you for tuning in. We love having these conversations, and yeah, we really just appreciate you guys and love you guys. And you could leave us a rating and review. That would be a huge, huge help. Also, wherever you are watching this, take a screenshot and post it on your Instagram story and tag us at AlternativesMC. We would really appreciate that. Talk to y'all soon.